I'm about to make a video on several topics, and I'm wondering if I should cut up this video and make smaller videos, otherwise you'll be listening to a long rant again. And I was going to make a video about spirituality and just anything really on the topic regarding spirituality, or just my take on reality, my perspective. And it's going to be that, but in a sense I feel like it's been disrupted by family crap, family drama. I am utterly, it's hard to express it, but I'm utterly terrified, and I feel I'm going paranoid and crazy. Maybe drinking a coffee does not help, but I figured I need to sort of stimulate the mind, although I'm aware that drinking coffee is, from energy drinks and coffee, it seems to me that it's a form of stimulating artificial chi, as a YouTuber had said it so perfectly. And I don't want to deplete my chi, but I feel like my chi or energy is depleted simply from having drank alcohol the other day. And I can see it's quite tempting, drinking alcohol in the context of if you feel more comfortable doing it alone, I can see how it can become a really, really bad habit. But that's not the topic I want to talk about. But when it comes to energy in general and feeling depleted, I guess it will be kind of about that, indirectly. And yeah, I'm just living in fear every single time I think I've overcome a new hurdle to get past any problems, such as dealing with my emotions. It's like, here's the interesting thing. I noticed in terms of telepathy, or twin flames, or just emotional expansion, development, being able to sense nuances, it does help to basically try and unblock the heart chakra and expand emotionally. And it's just so coincidental that after Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and just any other festivities have finally passed, I find myself thinking, I feel this relief, I feel better now that it's passed, because I spent Christmas somewhat, essentially, alone. And it actually felt good, beyond the initial stress or guilt tied to not spending Christmas with your family, essentially. So, yes, I've noticed since expanding my heart chakra, literally, or at least trying to meditate upon it, the last 1-2 days post-Christmas. Just as I logged into one of my emails, I'm slowing down here just trying to tell this story, if you haven't noticed already, is I noticed that basically I received yet another email from my family, and I consider this to be very threatening in that it's put me in a state of, unfortunately, hypervigilance and dread, to the point when I think I was still up, I'm not sure, but when my partner woke up, I just blurted it out and I said I got an email from my mother parading as my entire family unit, which is what she does in general. And I think he even said something along the lines of, I'm starting to get rather angry or sick of her too. And oddly enough, that was reassuring. Felt a bit daft trying to sort of not start a conversation, but make a statement like that at 4 AM. And normally in such circumstances, rather than ranting at the people I'm closest to, I didn't rant at him, but when I do rant to the people closest to me, I really should be journaling, and I would, except if I wrote down everything that went through me, I could probably fill an entire journal, probably within less than a month, and my fingers would actually get sore to the point one of my fountain pens has like this metal bit on it, and the metal just starts melting off onto my fingers. It's really gross. But anyway, that is not the point either, because I feel like I am deflecting again, trying to bring up every single little detail unrelated to the actual topic at hand. And basically, this email, I thought, this is terrible timing. Here I am, checking my emails, last thing before I go to bed, or around the time I'm supposed to be sleeping, not that I can sleep, is, I get that email, and I just find it so, it's just not fair. It's just utterly threatening. And I did not ask for this at all. And some people would say, but they're your parents. Yeah. I mean, if you don't understand the context of my family situation, then I recommend you Google or YouTube, because there's been an explosion of this information in the last few years, 2-3 years maybe, on the topic of narcissism, and there's currently many resources out there, and forums and videos, and if you really, really are that interested, although I very much doubt you are if you are watching this channel, I mean, I don't even know how you're able to tolerate me honestly ranting and rambling about random topics where my channel is not monetized and I'm making no money. I could do actual editing, but right now I find that would be time consuming. And even if I put the effort into making such videos, I found that no matter how much editing I do, the maximum amount of views I will get will be about 100 views. So why bother? Considering a lot of people with a large following, they might produce HD videos, well-crafted, creative content videos that are entertaining, that is monetized, but at the end of the day, when they do live streaming, it looks like utter crap. I'll admit though, my webcam is not that great. And I'm rambling off topic. But if you're interested on the topic of narcissistic family dynamics, where everyone's made to play a role, and some guys are the good guys and some guys are the bad guys, and your parents are playing good cop and bad cop, then you may check out my fumbling channel called Rage Against the Narc. I might link it in this video. I might not, because, well, all you have to do is look it up yourself. And by narc, I don't mean narcos, I mean narcissists. Although, you know, maybe they could be comparable to narcos, or grammar Nazis, or people who snitch on you, or look for dirt on you, essentially. But the difference is, narcissistic or psychopathic people, they're not looking for dirt on you because they have to do it because it's their job. They're doing that because it makes them feel better to find evidence you are a bad person and you have somehow done something to wrong them. When really, as one YouTuber put it a long time ago, who makes plenty of videos ranting on and on and on of the topic of narcissism, this guy's called Activism of Care. I think he makes far too many videos, but his content, if you want to hear even more rambly stuff on the topic of narcissism and work dynamics and work mobbing, and just general society being narcissistic, then you might want to visit the channel Activism of Care, which has a picture of some lion thing. I don't know why I find that so amusing, but anyway, trying to find the terms he used in sea of videos he's made is going to be quite hard by now, but he came up with a term, and I thought it's just perfect, that narcissism is essentially repressed, somehow, it's repressed schizophrenia. And there's nothing wrong with imagining things, and hypotheticals, and daydreaming. And a lot of people, maybe they do imagine a worst case scenario, or get anxious. But the thing is, a narcissist projects an entire personality onto you, even if they don't reveal it, with a complete storyline that's completely made up, or tweaked enough that it makes you sound utterly horrific if you do not play along with their game. And it seems only the dumbest ones reveal themselves, or the overt narcissists that are more somatic and want the emotional energy and attention. But the worst kinds, I think, are covert narcissists. That passive-aggressive, slimy, information-grabbing type. They plant seeds of doubt in whole groups of people and communities, and they turn everything upside down. And these are the kinds of people. They create a whole storyline, a whole plot that's completely, from their perspective, accurate, but it's completely warped. They just literally hallucinate things that you've done, that you have not done, and they assume that you're just, again, it's like you're pawn on a chessboard to them, and the only way out of it is to avoid contact with them, or low contact. And as even when you interact with them, you have to give them no energy at all, no information at all. You have to essentially use a method of grave rock, remaining monotone. You're sort of guarded, especially in the heart chakra area, which is sad, because it's like you're building an arm around your entire being, so they don't take your ideas, your essence, your soul, and then the next week, or whatever, copy what you've done, or sometimes they sign their narcissistic supply. It could be their own children or their friends, and these people are basically suckers. They're usually enablers, or codependents, or narcissists themselves, and they play along, and what they'll do is they'll take your personality and then they'll give it to somebody else, in that they will make that person do certain things, so they get rewarded emotionally and they're given attention or money or certain things. That's their reward, attention, loving attention, but it's very conditional. And but unfortunately, if you are the scapegoat, they take your identity, they spread rumors, they make you seem like the worst possible person ever, but they'll smile to you whilst it's like they're like holding daggers in their backs, essentially. They're just waiting, they're waiting to stab you in the back, essentially. Death by covert abuse. And I think that, personally, that a certain percentage of people who suffer from paranoia, psychosis, and who end up suicidal is because they have been outcast on a subtle level, or they've been assigned a certain role, usually the scapegoat, or the person that must bear with all the burdens of their bad traits, like an entire family unit, is placed onto one person. So again, if you want to watch my channel that talks on that topic, then please, if you want to, but I do talk quite slowly. I was quite hesitant in that it was my first sort of video journal type channel. In some ways that channel is more professional, but yeah, just basically that channel is just more done up, and I'm not sure if it's edited, although yeah, I have edited parts in some videos. Compared to this channel, it has more of a following, at least last time I checked. So please, yeah, just YouTube Rage Against the Knock. That's my channel. I'm supposed to be angry, except expressing anger was quite hard then. I find on this channel, I'm more angry, but then the title of this channel is implying that I'm clumsy. Clumsy spiritually, because when I mean warrior, I mean, like, I feel like it was my mission, basically, my role, to be some kind of warrior that has to pioneer through every experience, because I do feel like I am, like, I don't know how to explain it, what's the word? I feel like I'm the last one holding the line, if that's an expression, and I feel, yeah, I'm basically I'm stuck being a pioneer, because I know for a fact, unless somebody else can enlighten me, in terms of my age, I was probably the youngest female to travel by myself to East Asia and become a teacher there. And I'm also, I mean, I don't know if I'm that unique in other areas, but I feel like a lot of ideas I came up with, or ambitions or aspirations, I was coming up with before other people did. I feel like I'd already had sort of molded my identity. The only problem is I hadn't fallen yet. I hadn't made big enough mistakes. I had not rebelled hard enough. And I think one thing that made it harder to become a complete person, maybe not the best of people, but a complete person that's well developed. And I was not very mature, but I think I had sort of like a mature insight, as in, I don't know how to explain this, but I feel like I'm basically an old soul. I've been compared to an old man, or old woman, far too many times, and when I was a child, it's quite possible, because of my family, I was parentified, and I had to sort of stuff all my emotions. Any genuine emotion would have been crushed, negative or positive. Oddly enough, my genuine emotion as a child would have been seen as immature or wrong. So it's like my partner keeps comparing me to an old man, or Mr. Burns, or Hans Moleman, of the show The Simpsons. And sometimes I do feel like that. I actually feel that I'm on my last, like, I was gonna say limbs, but I only have 2 limbs. Is that even an expression? So, yeah, I feel like this channel is meant to basically be about pioneering, plodding through, just because I feel like my experiences are quite unique, and odd. I feel like I'm more self-fulfilled, kind of like an older man, but I don't mean in terms of masculinity, but in terms of existential or self-fulfillment goals. I feel like it's more comparable to a man maybe in his 40s. I've been mistaken for somebody in that age group and of that gender online before, not like just not under these, this personality, but when I'm just posting on a forum, and I don't like it. I don't like how I exude this weird sense of masculinity, but I don't think it's masculinity. I think it's trying to become complete, a process of becoming fulfilled, existentially, or otherwise. I feel like it's something not many women have done. I feel like my generation, or this generation of women, which would be millennials, for the first time ever in history, we do have equal rights. Some people will say, no, we don't. There's still a gender pay gap and other things. But aside splitting hairs, even if that's the case, in some places, look, sexism still exists, like racism still exists, like it's I don't know why, just like it, maybe we are really backwards, and we're only pretending to be equal when really it's just a form of, we're just being politically correct, and maybe things are quite backwards. If anything, I feel like we're going more backwards in terms of, I feel like people of my generation, women especially, they're gravitating towards going towards the 1950s, settling down and getting married and having kids. I'm not saying they're all doing that, but it seems like the most educated are more likely to settle down and have children, middle class women, and maybe they're right to do that, but I can't see how women or men of my generation are going to have a career or start a career, because I'd say about 95% of people of my age group and generation, doesn't matter how educated they are, how rich their parents are, or how poor they are, they're all unemployed. And I don't, part of me doesn't want to get a wage slave career job, but I do want money. I want, like, I want money, but it's just like, I don't know what I'm talking about. So, I don't want to waste my energy or like use up my life force energy on a career that I will burn out from and suffer literal adrenal burnout, because that's what happened to me. When I work too hard or too much, and it could be a physical thing as well as a psychological thing, probably a bit of both, plus a harsh commute, because if the economy is bad, what do? You will risk commuting longer and longer, working longer and longer, and maybe you'll just grab the first job you can get and cling on to that, so you don't, like, you'll take bigger and bigger risks, and they'll become exhausting, and my commute made me, I basically was fainting on buses, my hair was falling out in chunks, my gums started bleeding and receding, and I started getting acne all over my face, and my hormones went out of complete whack, and I was shaking before my manager, and I was dreading every single day before work. Some people would say, get a new job, except I'm the kind of person that's applied for over 200 jobs. I have at least had a well-crafted CV that I've been told is very good, very professional. And I should be guaranteed a job. I've had people look at my CV, work agencies, and people have even complimented me on my professional letter writing, and I'm thinking, well, like, why is it the person whose job is to get me a job is complimenting me on my skills, asking me where I got those skills from? How come I don't have their job then? Why am I here? In this situation. I'll admit, maybe my drive for money is not that strong. My lust for money is not that strong, since I realized my health deteriorated a few years ago, and I developed adrenal burnout, which basically means you can have a coffee, and instead of waking up, you will crash. You will crash and burn, and you'll fall asleep. You'll fall asleep at your desk. I knew something was very wrong when I started having coffee. And the coffee made me fall asleep. I was getting to the point that drinking coffee, I sometimes would drink coffee to help me fall asleep. And I was eating loads, and I still didn't gain weight. I did gain the slightest bit of weight, but I think it was only from muscle mass from standing on a bus commuting, or standing sometimes in my job. Because it seems I can build muscle, but I can't build much fat, because I can't digest fat. And I got so sick I could not digest food, and I suspect I developed full-blown allergies to almost everything. But these allergies, I think, were tied in with my immune problems or autoimmune problems, which I definitely do have underlying. Sensitivities, they could be stemming from genetic scenarios or trauma, because some of these symptoms were like, kind of like, what do you call it? Yeah, like side effects of maybe PTSD. They're psychosomatic. They're just so strange. But it would not surprise me, I do genuinely have strange genetics. Right, well, I feel like my eyes are sort of glazing over trying to explain the logistics of that, and I'm sorry, I may be boring you to death. I think at some point I need to make videos on adrenal burnout. I might even buy a whiteboard to explain how your health can completely deteriorate if you're just one of those unfortunate sensitive people, and once one of your organs, like the adrenals, are dysregulated, it then creates dysregulation in other organs which control your entire immune system. And it might not seem like a big deal, but one day waking up and strange things happening to you could happen. Most likely it won't, but for some of you, well, you know, you wonder why you just one day wake up and you cannot go to work, or why you're fat, or why you're too skinny. There's reasons to that. Unfortunately, I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified in epigenetics, but I've researched medical papers and cross-referenced between natural medicine, TCM, Chinese medicine, and Ayurveda, and epigenetics, basically trying to hack your genetics and trying to turn certain genetic markers on and off, because yeah, GPs, doctors, senior doctor, they are utterly clueless. They are paid to essentially just redirect you to the right specialized people, and a lot of the time they don't have the tools nor the equipment to deal with somebody that's allergic to things like, I don't know, air, or every single plant known to mankind, or you start breaking out in hives all over your body, and then they want to give you antibiotics for the rest of your life, which antibiotics, you can become immune to antibiotics, and they destroy your gut lining, and they can make you fat indirectly, they can make you very sick, it just changes your whole ecosystem, essentially, kind of like global warming. Antibiotics is like similar to pumping loads of CO2 and noxious chemicals into the atmosphere, hoping it will fix the earth. That's what antibiotics are like. It's just comparable to that. Basically, your gut is very similar to the Earth's ecosystem. And when the signals get crossed, because your gut is basically second brain, and it affects your brain, then it's hard to go back to a normal state of sanity, because a lot of these problems affect your mind. Some people become schizophrenic from eating bread. It's like indirectly anyway, and a lot of autoimmune diseases, everything, every disease you possibly could think of, they all stem from approximately the same source, meaning they all stem from this initial I'm not sure if I'm even saying that. Deregulation? Dysregulation? Oh. Yeah, my eyes are glazing over. What really upsets me is when I try to help people. I'd like to help people, basically. And people will say, well, just become a doctor. It's not that simple. If you're one of those conspiracy people, you're going to interpret it as Big Pharma. And it's not that everyone, I think, is out there to get the innocent people, but they are making a heck of a lot of money in giving things that are not the cure and do more damage than help you. Because mainstream medicine, I reckon, has made me very, very sick. But that's my personal opinion. And a lot of it is misinformation. The modern medical system is, in a sense, it's a belief system. It can help very temporarily, but the long-term damage it does, it's just a mess. Again, this video was originally meant to be about my family being a bunch of creeps. My family are actually creepy. Some people think that the only people that can be creepy would be your potentially some romantic partner or stalker. But not everything. It's not always creepiness in a sort of sexual context, but yeah, sometimes it can be your very own family, and my family scare me or more so they disgust me. And some people would say sending an email is not stalking, but the problem is I have had the police called on me because I did not respond soon enough to an email. I have had people in my family trespass and break into my house. Well, not specifically my house, but not their house. I've had they've done it in such a way that they basically tricked the neighbors into letting them in the main building. And they've used my younger siblings as props to gather sympathy, essentially, to make them look more innocent. And it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have children if you're going to use them as a weapon to pit them against each other. It's just wrong. But yeah, I'm actually genuinely scared, a bit paranoid, when I hear car doors slam with certain voices or certain tone, or people calling out outside. I flinch. I tense up inside. My heart chakra center closes up, it like zips up. When somebody knocks on the door too hard, I tense up. I'm genuinely scared, and I'm sick of it, because just like a lot of the time, it's not my parents, it's not my siblings, nobody's stalking me, nobody's fishing for information. But when you have somebody that makes multiple fake profiles of you, makes threatening emails, claiming an entire village or city knows about your evil bad actions, and that people talk, that was one of the threats, and people know that I block them. I blocked my family on Facebook, and extended family, and any friends connected to my family, because I don't enjoy using Facebook or social media. I stopped using it, and one of my, I can't even say friends, but classmates from secondary school, wished me a happy birthday, I think, and they said, "Do you even use this account anymore?" I'm not going to respond to that, because there's a chance that a mutual friend that might be connected to my family, or friend of a friend, will find that out, or pass on some information. And the thing is, most people don't care that much to report on me. But the problem is, covert narcissists, they fish for information. And they do it in a very innocent way, under the guise of caring, concern. They're concerned about my mental well-being. Well, if they were so concerned about my mental well-being, how come they ignored me for years? Or you know, how come they ignored me when I was sick as well, physically sick, and refused to visit me, refused to call me, but then all of a sudden they're concerned to people I don't even talk to, and therefore these people, not knowing any better, are like, "Oh, I don't know, but I did see her here and there, blah blah blah," and this is how the information gets passed on. I don't like where this video is going. I don't even know how I'm going to reach this to a therapist. I feel like it's ruining my life.